Okay, so the intake is on and torqued, the PVC is on, the EGR is on. This thing actually could be started right now. You know, just a question of hooking up the harness there. And the computer and blah blah blah. Glow plug heaters, I guess, as well. Jesus. Okay, well, anyways, I still have to do the return lines as well, so I guess it's not exactly ready unless I want diesel pouring all over the place. There you go. Anyways, fuel filter next. Actually, I think what I was going to do next was I was going to try and get the studs out of the exhaust manifolds. Okay, so I got the studs out of the exhaust manifolds there. Threads don't look too bad, not that you'd be able to see in the picture, but I had a hell of a time doing it. Of all the studs, 1 out of 6 came out normally. All the rest of them I had to weld a nut onto them. That's a horrible welding job there, but it held long enough. One went and snapped off on me after I welded a nut on it. And I had to go in the little bit that was left sticking out. I had to weld a piece of 1/4-inch steel plate to the bit that was left out, and then I beat on the edge of it with a hammer, and it came loose. Luckily it didn't break off even further in, but it came out. So wow, that was a bit of fun. That's just a, I'm sure everybody knows that tip, but it's a good way to release a stuck bolt, is to give it some heat, and there's no better way than to weld something onto it. And that got that one loose. There you go. Okay, so I've hit the exhaust manifolds with 3 coats of paint now that they're cleaned up. I didn't go to too much trouble cleaning them up. Like, I didn't sandblast all of them. I just cleaned up the scaly parts and that. You know, otherwise, I didn't figure it was going to be a big deal. It'll probably look pretty rough after not too long anyways. So I'll let these dry, and then I will put them on the engine, but I still don't have enough bolts to mount them. So they won't be exactly permanently mounted yet this weekend. Okay, the exhaust manifolds are on. Engine's about as complete as I think it'll get today. I'm just painting some bolts here for the fuel filter that goes on the back of the exhaust manifold here. And, well, it's all dirty, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Obviously I'm not going to be silly enough to sandblast it, but I might, I don't know what to do with it to clean it up. I might just hit it with the some brake cleaner and see if it strips any of the goop off of it and just use it as is. I guess I've got paint. I could probably hit it with a coat of paint. I'll have to take the sensors off and all that. It just makes it a big hassle. It's sitting on the back of the engine. Who gives it? Okay, 3 coats on the fuel filter here. I removed the sensors off of it and covered up the opening so I wouldn't get any paint in them as well. I covered the cap for it as well. So just the body is going to get some paint, or got paint, and that's enough for today, I think. You know, it's actually quite a nice day outside. And there's not much day left. Okay, this will probably be the final engine build video I do, at least for this 6.5 diesel. Pretty much everything is done on it. You know, like there's a few little bits and pieces, you know, like that have to be put on, but for the most part, it's done. You know, all I'd have to do right now is just connect up the computer, dump some oil in it, and I could start it, you know, for what it's worth, which I might actually try doing. I still haven't decided. Next thing, gonna be working on some of the frame bits, get them epoxy primed, and then put the frame back on its wheels and try test fitting the engine and transmission and see how they fit. I've been told that I was planning on using the small block motor mounts for that year for the 72 GMC Chevy pickups, and I've been told that they don't work that well. They put the stock exhaust manifolds right on the frame, and I'd like a little bit more space. Some people are recommending big block motor mounts. I don't know if I really want a spring for those. They tend to be pretty expensive as well. The towers are non-existent for a 4x4 since they never came with a big block. So I might end up fabricating. I've got some 1/4 inch by 4 inch steel plate, and I might end up trying to fabricate my own motor mounts if it doesn't look like it's going to work well in this truck. Another problem is going to be the radiator. It turns out the radiator is about 3 inches wider than the stock radiator, so unless I want to go and get another radiator, like one big block radiator from a 2-wheel drive truck, I'm going to have to do some modifications to the core support to make this one fit. Now, the only reason I might go to that much trouble to go and modify the core support to fit this radiator is because this radiator has an oil cooler in it, and I don't think there's a 72 big block radiator that's going to have an oil cooler in it. They'll have tranny coolers, but they won't have oil coolers in them. So, other than putting an oil cooler behind the grill with the stock radiator, I'm kind of stuck with the one I got. I also don't really want to spend any more money in modifying the core support. Well, that's just time rather than money. Anyways, that's the update for Saturday here. See you tomorrow.